Top of the day to you people. You're welcome to another edition of News Trend. And of course, I have my regular co-host and guest in the house. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you so much. It's nice being here again.
Okay, so recently we did a video about the Oba Ogunjobi, the olorile of Orile Ifo. You know, we saw a video of him harassing a 73-year-old man, and we had a discussion concerning that. You know, but recently, was it not just yesterday or so, we noticed that the video was brought down, you know, and we've heard from reliable quarters that this Oba, he has been, I must mention that he was arrested for, you know, the video went viral and then he was arrested and he was even suspended of his title and all that. But it looks like he's been going up and down everywhere trying to, I don't know if it's even possible for him to redeem himself or I don't know, because he's not even going about it the right way. Instead, he's going to places like I said, he brought down a video, you know, going to social media and then bringing out everywhere that the video has appeared. So what's your take on that, sir? What would you say? Is it the right approach? Is that not medicine after death?
Well, I think it's a way of wanting to clean himself up.
Is that the right way?
Well, it is to him the right way. But there is something that we always say. No matter how much of cleaning up it tries to do, the internet never forgets.
Never.
The written words are there. The photographs are there. And there are some platforms where he obviously won't be able to take off
Exactly
the video. And don't forget, we are not speaking about only the internet now. The records, not only on social media, but also in government records, won't go away. In the records of the court, it won't go away. In the statement made to the police, it won't go away. And all of this will be things to refer to in the future. Because even if it comes out now, let's assume there's a so-called amicable settlement. It will still remain in the records of the court that matter was brought before it and settled out of court.
Yes.
There's nothing he can do about that. Unfortunately for him also, in the process of going about removing this from here, he's also leaving bad memories for some people who took time to put up programs,
Exactly.
to talk about the issues, and then their efforts, you are bringing it to naught because you feel that, like, don't say this loud, the policeman that you are, you can receive bribe and bribe your way through.
Yes.
You know, so it's a funny lot. And unfortunately for him, as these things are happening, more facts are emerging.
Yes.
Or more details about his background are emerging, giving people this feeling that, oh, no wonder. That's why he has done this. You know, so the man needs to sort himself out in the proper manner.
Right way.
The right way. And not going around making people feel stupid, wanting to prove that indeed you own not just the police, but the whole world.
Exactly, because that's what you were accused of, that you are still doing, because going here and there, bringing this down, bribing this, talking to this, you know, is still a subtle form of harassment.
It's not even subtle. It's intimidation.
And intimidation
Complete
as
intimidation. Because what you have done amounts to intimidation.
It's true. Although I wonder why he couldn't do anything about his suspension. Maybe you should have started from there. Because
Yeah, the governor of Ogun State, Dakwa, has pronounced 6 months suspension.
Exactly. So,
It's on record.
and that's you. There's nothing you can do
Nothing
about
can
that one.
erase that.
Nothing can erase it.
The fact that he has been in prison for over 2 weeks now, nothing can erase that.
Exactly.
We may not call him an ex-convict, but he has gone to prison. He has tasted the place. Unfortunately for him, nobody is willing to take his bail till now.
Imagine.
So that shows the kind of man
And
he
yet
is.
he says he has the police in his hands.
You see, even if it is only the spirit they call, like they call it within the police, he should have been able to get some people who would have been able to stay on his side and get him that bail. You know, it's funny when you now discover that the man who says that he has the police in his pocket because he used to be a police officer has now been discovered to be just a mere sergeant. I'm sorry to use that word because it is not mere to even become a sergeant. It's a lot of hard work, especially when you start from the very beginning. You know, there are those who go into the force with a certain their first degree. They go to the college and then they become officers. They enter into the officer cadre immediately as assistant superintendent of police. But for you to start from the beginning as a constable, a police constable, takes a lot. In fact, it's for me, it's a lot of humility doing that. Because it means for everybody who joined the force before you, you must give them a salute. But the person who comes into the police as an ESP gets saluted by all those who have been the police constable, the police corporal, then to becoming a sergeant, and then becoming an inspector, inspector 1, inspector 2, inspector 3, and then you now become ESP. It's a lot of, that person has jumped because of qualification.
Yes.
So, which also now exposes the man as being close to an illiterate.
There is no that. I hear his wife too is a sergeant.
So we were told. So, but it also exposes him because, like I said, the more he's doing these things, the more people are digging.
Yes,
and the more we can
himself in the lights, and people are just okay. Who is this person?
Who is this person?
So it's not even in his own interest.
The more we can then begin to insinuate. Meaning that it's not somebody you can credit with a good level of intelligence.
I don't think there's no one that has good level of intelligence that will do what he did in the first place.
Because you must be conscious of everything that you do. And like we said from the program that was brought down, the culture where he grew up, no matter who he is, no matter how well placed he is, it's a culture that gives respect to the elder. Before we did that last program, just a message here and there, I got the fact that he's about 50 years old. That's what he wrote down in his statement, 50. And here you are, slapping the cap off a 73-year-old, going to 74-year-old man. And then one of your subordinates who was with you, a young guy that we could see, who from his action and the look of his hand couldn't have been more than 35, 40, slapping a 73-year-old man, going to 74. That shows bad judgment. And it also shows that the culture you claim to be protecting, you don't value it. Because it's a culture that gives regard to people who are older. That's why, like I said on that program that was brought down, that in some parts of Yoruba land, once a young man who still has a father becomes king, even if it is only publicly, it doesn't see his father eye to eye. Because the father can't prostrate for the son. It's a culture that should show you that even as a king, there are still people who can't prostrate for you because they are older than you. That's a culture. Yes, this man is not his father, but that culture respects age. I really can't see an emir or an obi doing that kind of thing to someone who is older than me. I'm not sure I've heard of it. It's possible it's there. Maybe I've not read about it or I've not seen it. But I'm not sure if you have.
No, I haven't.
So we should know that this man is just giving himself a bad name in order to hang himself. That's what he's doing.
In order to hang himself. And then, it makes one wonder that, assuming he had more power,
course.
you can imagine the kind of things that he'll be doing.
He's not a first-class traditional ruler.
Exactly the point. So,
in fact, someone said he's at the level of those that they call Bale, who also is installing Bales under him. But he's a king, he's a monarch who has behaved in a way that has given room for people to disrespect the crown. He has given room for that. But like we said, now is the time for him to sit back and reevaluate himself.
But he's not doing that, apparently.
But he's not doing that. Like I said, I don't see myself respecting that kind of person as my monarch, even if the state government decides to return him to power. Because you can't be my king and you have spent so much time in prison, cooling your heels, and you want to come back to rule over me. It's as good as if he's gone. It's just for him to now realize that even when he returns as a common man like every other person, he should learn those lessons that he failed to learn before he did this.
So do you think he'll be convicted in any kind of way, or he'll be released?
The man is in court for harassment, intimidation, all of those things.
And do they come with jail term, the conviction for those?
If you check what the law is saying, they can be fined. But most harassment, likely, battery, and all the rest, they also attract prison terms. They also attract prison terms. But the point there is, which you opposed in our first program, is that I'm praying that they'll be allowed to settle out of court. In this part of the world, they say something. They say, Oriadeki is sunta. That is...
it's not sunta.
the crown head does not sleep outside, but now the crown head is sleeping in the prison. If it's just outside, it will be fine.
It's even worse.
He's in prison.
He's in prison, so...
He's in prison. So how do you... That's why I'm saying, I pray.
I would prefer something much more than settling out of court. I would prefer a public apology, because what he did, gone viral, and everyone has seen that. So everyone should be able to see his apology as well. Because when you say settle out of court and then, we don't hear anything about it again, like most of the things,
dies down.
Yeah, it just dies down. Like most of the things that happen, a lot of people will continue to do. Other people, we see a lot of Nigerians abusing power. A lot, people in public offices or even monarchs, like that. So if he is not used as an example, this kind of act will continue and maybe probably even increase.
Yes, I completely agree with you on that. I completely agree with you on that. I mean, it's just sentiments that I'm expressing.
Yes, exactly.
Because
sentiments.
I feel that a king should not be used for that kind of example. It's just sentiments, nothing else. But I completely, no, seriously, I completely agree with you that he should pay the price.
He should.
If you can do the crime, then you should be willing to do the time, like they say.
Exactly.
You can. It is, but I'm saying sentimentally, I don't wish that you are from that kind of town and your king goes to jail and comes back to prison. No, he's not in jail yet. He goes to prison and comes back to rule over you. I'll mock you forever.
And then maybe he should not rule. He should not rule now. I mean, because if he himself, if he was sentimental, he wouldn't have even done that in the first place. Because first thing, a traditional ruler for that matter, you are supposed to uphold culture.
Yeah.
So you are not even supposed to treat an elderly in that manner, and then in public.
And then you went a step further to get somebody to record it.
Obviously,
to shame the man in the public space. And that's why
really he was just shooting himself in the leg, because if he recorded it on purpose to show where on social media.
Yeah, that's but that's where we got it from.
Exactly.
It's on the social
media.
That's why
he was not showing his face.
Yes, it's on the social media we got it. And that's why I keep saying,
he did himself.
Yes, this tool is good. That's the phone, but it is not everything that you put on social media.
Yes.
Not even this kind of thing. If you did it for the purpose of having
the record, exactly.
To say, see you, we had this conversation, but I did not do anything towards this man. But you did something untoward and you still kept it. You did not only keep it, you allowed it to be released on the social media. And you recollect that a thing like that happened with K1, the musician.
Yes.
The Ganusi matter that has refused to go away.
It can't go away now when it has become record.
Of course, it's the most popular song now.
It's the most popular song now.
Even in churches.
Yes.
Even in churches. People now Ganusi and everything. But the question that I asked, just like in the case of the monarch, is it everything, every activity that you do that must go on the social media? You don't need to record. You recollect even a week or so, or 2 weeks before that, K1 was also trending when he had a telephone conversation with the president. And people picked holes in his use of language.
Yeah.
They picked holes in it. That he shouldn't have spoken with the president without respect. It only took some people. And the understanding of people like me who are used to the Ijebus, the way they speak, they use a lot of which is not out of disrespect for those who are older than them. It's the way they speak. But people pick those in it. So it means it's not everything that happens in your home.
But then that was even a private conversation. Who recorded that? Because that was a telephone conversation.
He knew about it. He knew about it. Even the Ganusi was openly recorded. It was just that somebody was mischievous enough within that setting to extract that part. Because some of us who eventually watched the whole of the video saw that there were things that led to it that were taken out deliberately in order to paint a bad picture. There were conversations of money spent, including dollar and all the rest for those who are there. And, it had, for those who are seated there, some form of meaning. But for those of us who are outside, who are not part of that discussion, it had an entirely different meaning. And that's why the Ganusi became a huge success. Even the man is himself using it. It's a huge success. I'm sure by this time next year, it will enter into World Dictionary.
True.
You know the way it is.
As one Nigerian words are entering.
Yes, Nigerian words are going in there.
Yeah.
So, but the lesson there for me is, it is not everything that you do that must be on social media. It's not.
It's a big lesson.
It's a big lesson. Because if the Kabiyesi, who is now cooling his heels with his crown in prison.
No, they've collected the crown. They've collected all the paraphernalia.
The crown is
you cannot shame yourself and shame our crown.
If what he did he had done quietly, getting angry with the man, and wouldn't have
Who
known
even have
now.
heard? Yeah.
And then you now went and said you have all the police in Nigeria and you
Ah,
want.
you own them.
And then we now discover that you are even a sergeant.
Oops.
Sergeant.
So in conclusion, how do you think this matter will end?
You are still going to make me express sentiments. I wish that KBC will end this
I don't share this
out of court. But
is it up to him? Really, is it up to him?
It's not up to him. Because the man, the chief that he eats, that he humiliated, was not the one who reported the case. So it is now government versus the monarch. It is no longer the chief versus. If it's the chief, it's easy. But in all of this, there can still be a way out by getting to talk to those who instituted the case. And then the man involved can say, I'm the one you are trying. This man on his behalf. Please. But from what we are even hearing, his own supporters are threatening this man to leave the village.
Wow.
So that some people are saying he better takes off before they will come after him.
Can you imagine? So it's really unrepentant.
No, yes, his supporters, yes. And those who actually joined him in perpetrating that act on that day, they've taken off. They can't be found. They are at large. So if the man is kind enough to accede to my sentiments, they can find a way around settling out of court. But whether he's going to go back to that throne or not, that's another matter entirely. But in my own sentiments, I think this should be settled out of court. And let's see how it ends. So that we don't, like you said, have another 50-year-old slapping a 73-year-old. Or a so-called TikToker seeking, talking in an abusive manner to a man who could as well as be his grandfather and think that it is the new norm or the new normal, like the Gen Zs will say. Those are lessons that we need to start learning very fast so that we don't lose completely those things that have made us Africans and Nigerians. Because that's what is happening. We are losing it very fast. We are becoming like others. I don't want to mention any part of the world. In this part of the world, it is at a point it was an abomination for an elderly man to be standing up and a young man is occupying a seat inside the bus or at a function. It's an abomination, whether that person is your parent or not. So these are the kind of these are the kind of things that are making us to lose who we are. And some people don't even give it down.
Because they feel like, okay, the world is changing. And you should move with the changes. But I don't think these are part of the type of changes that, we should be embracing. That's not
what we want. Somebody still wrote on that Seeking and Adeboye, Pastor Adeboye stuff and said, see, just like I said yesterday, you can tell somebody to go to hell and the person looks forward to that journey. And said, no matter how, he doesn't even want to hear about religion, the writer. Don't bring religion at all. But at the same time, you have no right to speak in such insulting and insolent manner to a man of that age. Leave religion apart. The man was not even asking you to fast now. He was not compelling you to fast. And then you are using those kind of foul languages. And like I asked, in the case of seeking, would he have wanted somebody to do that to his father? And then we bring it back to the monarch. Will the monarch have wanted somebody to do that to his own father? Because that man is old enough to be his father.
True. Yes, he's old enough to be
A
his father.
74-year-old to a 50-year-old. So that's what I'm saying. We have a whole lot to do, but sentimentally, they should please settle out of
I
court.
don't share the
And let,
sentiments.
and let the sergeant go and rest at home.
Unfortunately, I don't share that sentiment. So that's the update we have for you today. If anything comes up, we'll surely let you know. We'll let you know if the sergeant is going home or if he's going to be
With
ruling
his sergeant wife.
inside inside the prison. So don't forget to like and share this video and also subscribe so that you get notifications when we come out with the updates for you. And also follow us on all our social media handles at The Eagle Online. See ya.
Thank you. Bye.